And this is me again. Well, what video is this? 994? I think so. A little while ago, I made a comment on a Maryland pursuit video. And I've been watching these police pursuit videos for the last couple hours. And it seems that all of them, all involved, are Black Americans. Mostly young Black Americans in this country. So I made a comment about it. And I was like, you know, these guys, there's everything from robbery, from running red lights, running from the cops, crashing into people, gun violence. And I made a comment about it, about the percentage of young black Americans in jails and our prison systems. And I was called a racist from a number of comments. I was called a Trumpard, a rad publican, you know, and all this other stuff. And I says, hey, you know, I did the research. And, you know, we were talking about gun violence, all this other stuff. And I says, listen, I said, there's, you know, you're going to talk about racism, about cop shootings on blacks and white racism, and that's how it started. It went off to that tangent. And I said, well, let's take a look at the numbers. And yearly, according to the numbers that I researched, is 12,400 yearly are arrested for various crimes. We're talking about the black community, the black folks. And 15,548 was the highest in 2021. The firearm homicides against for black-on-black violence rose to 61% from 2018 to 2021. Gun violence has went up. And 83% were amongst blacks on blacks with firearms. Okay? And the ages was 18 to 25, which is 19 times higher than whites on their age between gun violence. The homicide is for Black Americans was between the ages of 55 to 44, and it was the leading cause in the last 50 years. Yeah, those are some crazy numbers. And 86% of them involve guns. So with that, I dug in a little bit deeper about suicides. And whites have the majority in suicide by guns. 86% of all suicides by the white community is done by guns. Okay? The blacks, believe it or not, was only 9% suicides by using guns. So then we went to a number of people being in prison. As of right now, there's approximately 1,500,000 plus in prison right now, incarcerated in this country. And the numbers broke down that 38% of the 1,500,000 in the country, 38% is brought up by blacks. And here's where the misconception about the injustices and all that other bullshit. And believe it or not, according to this, the whites are at 47% in this country's prisons are white. The rest were broken off as Latino and Asian and Native American. So, you know, you get all these people screaming and yelling about, oh, the white privilege, you know, they're not in prison. Shit. The white folks make up almost half the entire prison system of 1 million plus. So it broke down to 1.4% for Asians. Blacks were approximately 38.5%. Native Americans, 2.6%. Whites were 57.4% overall. And the rest was at Latinos, which they lumped in with Native Americans. They lumped them all in. I don't know why, but they shouldn't. So, black on black violence is up by 85%. Black on black violence. Police shootings per year on black is roughly about 3,800 per population, per our population. Whites is over 3,200. And the rest is broken up to race, Latinos, Native Americans, and Asians were like at 1.0%. So these numbers is pretty crazy. This is some crazy stuff. And, you know, and everybody's complaining about equal rights, equal this, equal that. I mean, just look at the numbers. I mean, all you got to do is just type in Google and Google out race per population prison. Race versus race gun violence. Just type in all that stuff. It doesn't take a link or a rocket scientist to figure out. That's what Google's for. You Google that. Suicides. The race breakdown of suicides. Type that in Google, like I just did. Just brought it up and went, oh, look at this. Jeez. Wow, that's, you know. And, you know, it's just amazing that, you know, you also got to consider in this country, there is 335 million people living in this country. 335 million. 1.5 million is in prison. That's a tiny, tiny little number. Very, very tiny. The so-called black on black violence, black on white violence, white on black violence, cop on white violence, cop on black violence, it's just such a small number. It's not even 1% in this country of 335 million people. Please tell me where this white privilege is and Black Lives Matter, and then all the numbers are lies. And they said the census is bullshit, you know, and they're screaming and yelling and fuck you, and you know what, shut up you racist, shut up you Trumpard, shut up you branded administration voter. And you know, it's a small number, it's so tiny, it's minute. And yet, the internet is flooded with this, with all the injustices, and oh my God, it's just unbelievable. You people are just unbelievable. And you make a big deal into from nothing. This is like 1% and less in the total population in this country. Most of us are law-abiding citizens. So if you decide to run from a cop at a police stop, or decide you want to rob that liquor store, or do a drive-by, or beat up your wife or your kids or whatever, think about that. You're just going to become a statistic. You're just going to become a statistic, and you just add another little, well, instead of 8,845, now it's 8,846 for this year. Wow, So, yeah, like I said, the suicides, the gun violence, the knifings, the drive-by shootings, the black-on-black violence, the black-on-white, the white-on-black, the cop-on-cop, white privilege, Black Lives Matter. I mean, everybody is talking about how, all right, let's do this. Let's do this, okay? Here's another thing, just total casualties by race, Iraq war, okay? Okay. Service member deaths by race. Whites. All right, the Korean War. Okay, we're going to find out about white privilege during wartime. Let's check this out. The Korean War. American Indian, Alaskan Native. 104 has died during the Korean War. Asian, 241. Black or Afro-American, 3,170. Other race, one race unknown, 3,159. Native, Hawaiian or Pacific Islander, 148. White, 29,551. Okay. All right, let's go to Vietnam. Native American, 226 killed in action. Asian, 139 killed in action. Black, 7,267 killed in action. Other race, 204. Native American, Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, 229. Whites, 50,159. Something's going on here. Getting to see some white privilege here. Persian Gulf, 3 Indians, 3 Asians, 63 blacks were killed. Other race unknown, 2. Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, 2. 294 whites were killed in the Persian Gulf. Since 1980, this is the worldwide, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, Kosovo, Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan. Okay, Native Americans, 460. Damn, that's pretty good. Asians, 971. Blacks, 9,627. Race unknown, 1,805. Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, 256. Whites, 43,534. White privilege, huh? White privilege. Serving on active duty an overall annualized rate of 94.9 per 100,000 military personnel. Males account for 95% of these deaths. Whites, 78% of deaths. And those aged 34 and less are 81% of those deaths. Okay, where's their white privilege at, huh? How many white soldiers died in World War II? There's nobody exact figures. The estimated U.S. counted 407,000 military deaths and around 12,000 civilian deaths due to crimes of war, military activities such as bombings. Total count of deaths of all Americans mounted up to 420,000. Okay. So, ha ha. So, white privilege, huh? Okay. Let's see. Well, ha 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 ha. Okay. All right. How many died? How many Union soldiers died in the Civil War to help bring slavery to an end? 642,427 Union casualties have been divided accordingly. 110,100 was killed in battle. Another 224,580 diseases. Another 275,174 wounded in action. Okay, remember this, black folks. These are Union soldiers that fought the South to help free the slaves. So these words like cracker, white trash, okay? Okay, right? Ha! Okay, you know. Okay, the African Americans did serve in the Union. 210,000. Irish-born was 150,000. German Americans, 216,000. Native white-born Americans, 1,400,000. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to hear about this BS about white privilege. The whites did this, you know, this and this and this. They fought with the Union to end slavery. Yeah, shit still sucked for another 60, 70 years. I mean, you can't expect change to happen overnight. But after the war was over, there was no more slaves. Despite the blacks being treated like shit. But you got to remember, not only the blacks was treated like shit, the Irish was treated like shit. The American Indians was treated like shit. The Chinese was treated like shit. So it's just not a black thing. It's not just a black thing. So think about it, folks. Think about the gun violence. Think about black on black violence, black on white, white on black, cop on white. The Civil War, all the wars combined, everybody getting killed. Think about that before you start making stupid comments about race and privilege. This is Jeff signing off on video number 995? I think it's 95. Let me see. Is it 95? 95. Okay. Anyway,